What am I using to make my vocals crisp? What do I use to make them pop? How do I get rid of harshness? This is the first of a 4-part series, the best vocal plugins, at least that I'm using in 2019. Let's start with EQ. Just want to say, if you think stuff like this sounds kind of cool, then hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss anything. And if you're a creator putting yourself out there, I've got nothing but respect for you. Let me know what I can do to help. So I've got 3 EQs that are newish, so I think they're relative, and I'm using them all quite a bit on things that I'm working on. I've had a few questions about a rap in a song that I used in a video where I talked about taming harsh vocals, so we're going to use that as the example. First EQ that I really like. Pro Q3. What do I like about it? The user interface. Let's solo this vocal.
My back's to the wall for the cracks and the scars as I fall to the floor.
See how big this part of the user interface is? I can really clearly see this aspect of it, where frequencies are sticking out. Some of them are flatter and it's hard to pick them out, but here, if I hear something that sounds boggy, I can zero in this area.
My back's to the wall for the cracks and the scars.
If I hear too much mid, I can see it. If I hear harshness, I can go around this area. Of course, you got to use your ears, but if the user interface gets you to where you want to be faster and easier, come on. Every card in the deck, let's use it. But the other thing that I just want to highlight that I love is the integrated dynamic. So here, I've got a piece of the vocal that's a bit harsh.
My back's to the wall for the cracks and the scars as I fall to the floor and scream, but they ain't listen at all. Does anybody really care? They just smash.
So I've given it a bit of a boost, and what's happening is I'm pushing that forward, so when the vocal is quieter, when that frequency isn't as far forward, the EQ is bringing it up, and then when the vocal is harder, when it's pushing more, it's pushing that frequency down so it doesn't sound as hard. That's my first EQ that I love for 2019. The second EQ that I really am starting to use a lot in 2019 is this FG A. It's part of an upgrade that comes with a Slate virtual mix rack. It's obviously modeled after an API. It's great for broad strokes and analog flavor. So remember the last EQ I talked about clean? This is really colored. And what I love especially about this vocal is the high end. So let's actually put it in context in the track. If I take this out,
my back's to the wall for the cracks and the scars as I fall to the floor and scream, but they ain't listening at all. Does anybody really care? They just masking us all. Just another diagnosis, they just jacking us all. Let's swipe for the...
So I'm putting 6 dB of 12.5 on this vocal. That's really high frequency for those of you who are not sure where that lands. It's given it a nice bright feel. That's a lot of EQ. I wouldn't normally do that much, but whatever works is the right thing. And it really brings the vocal forward and makes it pop and discernible and cut through the track. I'm taking out some honky mid-range here.
My back's to the wall for the cracks and the scars as I fall to the floor and scream, but they ain't listening at all. Does anybody really care? They just...
It's a really smooth analog style EQ. I just love it for the character, but especially the smoothness of the high end. The third thing that I'm really in love with is this new Nectar III. It's got a really interesting feature. So say the track's a little bit boggy, and this is what I tend to use it for a lot, and your mileage may vary. This frequency thing with the left and right, if you turn that on,
my back's to the wall for the cracks and the scars as I fall to the floor and scream, but they ain't listening at all.
So if you've got a boggy zone in the vocal, but it moves around a little bit, you can actually zero in on it, and it will actually follow the frequency of the vocal. Check this out.
My back's to the wall for the cracks and the scars as I fall to the floor and scream, but they ain't listening at all. Does anybody really care?
Wherever your problem is, it'll move with it. It can really address a problem that's moving around without having to do a wider EQ. It can stay with the problem zone. Love that thing. So that's part 1 of a 4-parter I'm going to do on what I think are the best vocal plugins of 2019. That was EQ. I'm going to do compression. I'm going to do something called rescue, which is getting to the problem areas, harshness of vocals. And I'm going to do one on effects, which will be part 4, which will be reverb, delay, and chorusing and stereo effect. If you thought any of this was kind of cool, it'd be so awesome if you would hit that subscribe button. And if this interests you, ring the bell so you don't miss any part of the conversation. Got a question? Put it in the comments. If there's something I can do to help, I'm here for you. And does anybody know anything about lava lamps? I think this one fell down and it's gotten all murky. And is there a lava lamp doctor in the house?